Hey guys, welcome back to Top 10 Nerd. I'm Ron McKenzie-Lefurgey. Red Goblin is a new addition to comics and for some time was a mystery to comic book fans, leading to a number of different theories. But I'm here to set the record straight and hit you up with some cool facts about the new baddie. As always, I'll make sure to include a few important facts about him that aren't so shocking but will help people to understand what his deal is, because I'm certain some people have never even heard of him. Also, this will be all the way up to and including Amazing Spider-Man 800, so if you want to avoid spoilers, you might want to wait. Or at least skip numbers 3, 2, and 1 because they're the most spoilery. I literally just finished reading that comic and I'm still feeling emotional. It was just such a good conclusion. As always, if you finish this and want more, check out our video on Ronin next. But first, get ready, it's time for the top 10 shocking facts about Red Goblin. Also, as a side note, I know the Venom movie is calling them symbiotes, but I personally prefer saying symbiote, so I'm gonna. Sorry, not sorry. Number 10. He's a Green Goblin Carnage combo. For some time after Red Goblin was first revealed, nerds everywhere were trying to figure out what the heck it was. But a whole lot of people thought it was sort of a pact with Mephisto thanks to some trickery from Dan Slott. The story there is, a while back, Dan Slott made a tweet that seemed to be intended as a message to editor Nick Lowe. It read, "Sorry, email's down, time sensitive. I think there's a site mentioning the Osborn-Mephisto pact. Can you or Andrea get them to pull that? We need to fix this now." And he accidentally set this out as a tweet. And this sent everyone into hysteria and confirmed to many that Mephisto was involved. But it turned out this was all just a ruse. I love a good ruse. Now, Red Goblin was eventually revealed to be Norm with the Carnage symbiote. He stole the symbiote from its secure location and ended up bonding with it for some sweet, sweet power. At first the symbiote took control, but then Norm was like, "Hey, you like killing and torturing people? I like killing and torturing people." And Carnage was like, "Did we just become best friends?" And Norm was like, "No, I hate everyone, but if you give me the control, I'll kill people." And Carnage was like, "Okay." Number 9. Amazon blew it. Red Goblin was a bit of a mystery for quite some time, although many people had guessed his identity, but then one particular Amazon listing accidentally gave it all away. Running counter to Slott's red herring that it was Mephisto, the UK Amazon page for Volume 9 said, and I quote, "Norman Osborn has finally found a way to become a goblin again and is gunning for Spider-Man in the biggest way possible. His new weapon? The Carnage symbiote." You had one job, Amazon. Now, granted, a lot of people had already guessed that this was the case since there aren't a whole lot of other bright red dudes in Spider-Man, but they definitely dropped the ball on this one. Number 8. The Goblin Formula's back. And if you've been keeping on top of Spidey news, you'll know that some time ago, Peter managed to cure Osborn of the Goblin Formula. This was during the whole Goblin Nation event when Norman Osborn was trying to take over New York as the Goblin King. Peter injected a serum antidote into him, created by Parker Industries, which held nanites that not only took away his Green Goblin powers, but also took away his insanity which came from those powers. But Norman wasn't a fan of being sane, so he used the symbiote to eject the nanites from his body. Unfortunately for the good guys, when he added the Goblin Formula onto the already powerful Carnage symbiote, he became something new and better. The two evil power sources combined to bring him even more power, all the strengths but none of the weaknesses. Back to the drawing board, Spidey. Number 7. He's no longer weak to sound or fire. Yeah, as I so subtly hinted at in the last point, many past weaknesses are no longer an issue for Red Goblin. The symbiotes don't have a ton of weaknesses anyway, but sonic and fire attacks tended to hurt them, often causing them to separate from their host. However, the Carnage symbiote lost its weakness to sonic attacks when it was exposed to the power of the Darkhold, and it didn't stop there. Once it combined with the Goblin Formula, it also lost its weakness to fire, allowing Red Goblin to beat the pants off of the Human Torch, which otherwise would have been super easy for Johnny Storm. He even pulls a Batman and has his previous fear as part of his costume. You know, Bruce was afraid of bats, so he wears a cape and a mask to make him look like a bat. Carnage was weak to fire, so in Red Goblin form, he freaking breathes fire. What a show off. Number 6. Carnage Bombs. Another revelation in issue 798 was a new take on the Green Goblin's bombs. This time they're connected to the symbiote, with Peter calling them Carnage Bombs. And unfortunately, they don't set off his spider sense. Why? Well, since Peter was fused with the Venom symbiote, Venom couldn't be detected by the spider sense. And since the Carnage symbiote is the spawn of the Venom symbiote, it too couldn't be sensed by Spidey. And since the bombs are made of the Carnage symbiote, well, you get my point. But that's not all the bombs have going for them. Since they seem to be semi-sentient and made up of of the Carnage symbiote, they can bite and latch onto enemies. Ouch. But by far the worst part that turns these from scary weapons into terrifying weapons is they giggle. Ugh. Number 5. He can be cleansed by AntiVenom. One thing that we learned about Red Goblin throughout the story arc is that he's insanely strong. Frankly, kind of overpowered. He was able to take out the entire spider family single-handedly with barely a scratch on him. So it was definitely encouraging to see that AntiVenom's cleansing ability does seem to have an effect on the symbiote. Finally, a weakness that's still a weakness. This was especially important when AntiVenom realized that the pins Red Goblin had shot at his victims eventually resulted in incredible suffering. Red Goblin had planned to use this as a big FU to Spider-Man, but Flash managed to extract them from Osborn's victims with the last of his AntiVenom powers. What a guy. Number 4. He knows Peter's identity. Turns out Osborn had managed to get Peter's identity out of J. Jonah Jameson, much to Jameson's dismay. And don't worry, Jonah definitely made up for it, but that's a story for another day. But now Osborn is putting this info to good, or rather evil, use, since he's now able to threaten those Peter cares about, which is a huge deal, especially for someone like Peter. He learned about this right before Norman went Red Goblin for the first time, and if he wasn't shocked to learn Osborn knew his identity, he was even more shocked when Norman revealed the Carnage symbiote. This knowledge was a significant part of the last few issues of the story arc, with Norman often baiting and teasing Spider-Man about his knowledge, threatening MJ and Aunt May, and later attacking MJ and Aunt May. Number 3. He can infect others. This is definitely the coolest power of the Red Goblin, and I actually had it at number 1 at first, but then when issue 800 came out I had to rewrite the crap out of this whole list, and so it was stuck at number 3. Still pretty good. Osborn managed to get his hands on his grandson Normie, and right at the end of the issue transformed him into a mini Red Goblin. This was totally disturbing to me. Both Harry's desperation and the freaky look of the mini Goblin make me feel incredibly uncomfortable. He later goes on to take the name Goblin Child, which frankly isn't the best name in the world, but he is a kid after all. Thankfully, Normie was able to shut down the symbiote after seeing his grandpa try to kill his mom, and later they extracted the symbiote from him, leaving him free of Red Goblin's influence. Or was he? Dun, dun, dun. Number 2. He has too much pride for his own good. In the final battle between Peter and Norman, things were looking rough for Spidey. He'd gotten his hands on the Venom symbiote, which was helping him to fight it, but in this case, fire was everywhere, and while it no longer affected Red Goblin, the Venom symbiote was still weak to it. Now in a final gambit, Peter did what he did best, started talking. He pointed out that Norman didn't really have the glory of this victory since he couldn't have done any of it without the Carnage symbiote. This made Osborn super conflicted. He wanted to win, but he didn't want to share the glory with some slimy red gunk. But the last straw came when Spider-Man took off the Venom symbiote, offering a one-on-one fight, Spider-Man versus Green Goblin for all the marbles, no symbiotes. And Norm just couldn't resist. When he saw that the little punk had gotten rid of his symbiote, Norman decided he wasn't going to be upstaged and ripped Carnage off of him. He was still Green Goblin under there, so it wasn't an instant win for Spider-Man, plus some exploding gas tanks put him on his heels, but eventually Norman was defeated. How? Well, number 1. In the end, he was defeated by love. Yeah, I know, I want to vomit from the corniness too, but this story really highlighted the advantages of being a good guy. Normally the fact that good guys care about other people is a hindrance, because baddies can take advantage, and that certainly happened in this story. But in the end, it's actually the heroes who take advantage of it. AntiVenom was able to heal Peter and get him back in the fight. Later, thanks to Peter's on-again, off-again bromance of sorts with Eddie Brock, he was given the Venom symbiote to fight Osborn, hoping that the symbiote combined with his spider powers could beat him. Normie ended up turning on Osborn when he tried to kill his mom, whom he loved. Harry hit him with a freaking rocket because he was attacking his family. And in the end, it was thinking about everyone depending on him that gave Peter the drive to push through the pain and defeat Green Goblin. Yes, having loved ones makes you more vulnerable, but it also gives you support, and even more importantly, it gives you someone to fight for. Damn, we got deep today. That's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please smack the thumbs up button and subscribe to Top 10 Nerd for more videos. There was one very notable death in issue 800 that I wanted to include, but it's a big spoiler, and also I ran out of space, so I left it out. So if you're wondering why I didn't include it, that's why. Feel free to discuss the storyline in the comment section down below, just don't do it if you're afraid of spoilers for issue 800. Also check out our top 10 recently uploaded playlist if you're looking to catch up on missed videos. Until next time, I'm Ron McKenzie-Lefurgey with Top 10 Nerd. Later nerds.